All right, let's talk about something that I think we all know way too well. That endless, exhausting cycle of overthinking. I mean, seriously, does this sound familiar? You're lying there in the dark. Everything is quiet, except for your brain, which is throwing an absolute rave. You're stuck replaying some tiny moment from your day, twisting it and turning it, caught in that what-if spiral. It's like a hamster wheel in your head you just can't get off.
And you've probably heard the classic advice, just stop thinking so much. Yeah, thanks, super helpful. Today, we're going way beyond that useless platitude. We're going to dive into the actual science of why your brain gets stuck in this pattern. And more importantly, we're going to get into some real, science-backed tools you can use to break that cycle.
So, what's actually going on here? Why is our brain wired to do this? Well, to really solve the problem, we first have to understand where it comes from. And it turns out, this isn't some personal flaw you have. It's actually an old, outdated survival program that's misfiring in the modern world. See, you gotta remember, our brains were built for one thing above all else: keeping us alive. They were not designed for our happiness. Thousands of years ago, being hypervigilant and constantly scanning for a predator in the bushes, that was a feature, not a bug. The problem is, that exact same threat detector is still running today. But now, it's aimed at things like an unanswered text or a weird look from a coworker. To our ancient brain, those social threats can feel just as life or death. So let's meet the main characters in this little drama inside your head. First, you've got the amygdala. Think of it like your brain's security guard, a really jumpy one. It spots a modern threat and it smashes the panic button. That's when your prefrontal cortex, the analyst, swoops in. It thinks it's helping you by replaying the scenario over and over again, trying to analyze its way to safety.
And this all ties into something fascinating called the default mode network, or DMN. This is basically what your brain does when it's idle, when you're not focused on something in the outside world. It's meant for healthy daydreaming and self-reflection, but in people who overthink, the DMN gets hijacked. It becomes hyperactive and turns that quiet time into a rumination festival, locking your mind on that replay loop.
And that mental loop isn't just in your head, it has a very real physical cost. All of that spinning and ruminating triggers your body to pump out cortisol, the main stress hormone. So you're basically living in this constant low-grade state of fight or flight. And it's no wonder that it's so incredibly draining. And here's the really tricky part, the paradox that makes this so hard to stop. Even though it feels awful, there's a weird part of your brain that finds comfort in overthinking. It creates this illusion that you're in control, that you're actively solving the problem. But you're not. You're just spinning your wheels. That false sense of progress is exactly why the habit is so sticky. Okay, so now we know why our brains do this, but what's the actual damage? Let's talk about the so what. Because this isn't just some harmless mental quirk. This constant cycle of worry has some serious hidden costs that can bleed into every single part of your life. And the price we pay is steep. It starts with decision paralysis, where you analyze every option so much that you can't choose anything at all. All that second guessing just chips away at your self-confidence. It's also just plain exhausting. That mental and emotional fatigue that follows you around all day. It can put a strain on your relationships because you're constantly reading into things. But maybe the biggest cost of all, the saddest one, is simply missing out on the joy in your own life.
Seriously, think about that for a second. The last time you were with people you love, were you really there? Or was a part of your brain off somewhere else, worrying about the future or replaying the past? You're physically in the room, but you're mentally checked out. And all those little moments of connection, of happiness, they just slip right by you.
All right, we've looked at the problem, we've seen the stakes. It can feel a little bit bleak, but here's where it all changes. Here is the good news. Your brain is not fixed. It is absolutely rewirable. So now, let's get into the practical, actionable strategies you can use to start reclaiming your mental space. First up, we have a technique that sounds almost too simple to be true, but it is so powerful. It's called name it to tame it. The second you catch yourself spiraling, just label it. Say it out loud. I'm overthinking right now. That simple act of naming it engages the logical part of your brain, and it acts like a circuit breaker on that emotional, automatic loop. Okay, next tool for your toolkit, the 5-5-5 rule.
This one is an absolute game changer for shrinking a worry back down to its actual size. You just ask yourself these 3 simple questions. By forcing yourself to zoom out and look at the problem from a distance, you gain perspective. And you realize pretty quickly that most of the things we obsess about just lose their power over time.
All right, this next one is all about setting boundaries with your own brain. Instead of letting anxiety have free rein all day long, you're going to schedule it. You literally give yourself a specific time slot, say, just 10 minutes, to worry as much as you want.
But, and this is the crucial part, when that timer goes off, you're done. You have to get up and physically move to a different focused action. See, overthinking loves a vacuum. It thrives when your mind is idle. So you have to fill that space. Go journal, pick up an instrument, do a crossword puzzle, anything that requires your full attention.
You can also short-circuit that anxiety loop by using your body to calm your mind. And box breathing is one of the best ways to do this. By controlling your breath in this slow, 4-part rhythm, you are literally activating your parasympathetic nervous system. It's like sending an all-clear signal straight to your brain's security guard, telling it, hey, we're safe. You can stand down.
And finally, this is a big one. You need to rebuild trust in your own judgment. Overthinking completely erodes that trust. The way you build it back up is by practicing with tiny, low-stakes choices every single day. Think of it like strength training, but for your decision-making muscle. And this is so easy to put into practice. Coffee or tea? Choose. Stairs or the elevator? Choose. Reply to that email now or in an hour. Just pick one. Don't agonize. Every single time you make a quick choice and the world doesn't end, you're sending a little message to your subconscious that says, hey, I can trust myself. My judgment is sound.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway here? It's that overthinking isn't you. It's just your brain running an old, buggy piece of survival software. The real you, the real power, comes from recognizing that you are the observer of your thoughts. You are the one in the driver's seat, and you get to choose which thoughts get your attention and which ones you just let drift on by.
And that's where I want to leave you, with a challenge. Instead of just thinking about all this stuff, I want you to pick one thing. What is one worry, one mental loop, one what if that you can consciously decide to release, starting right now? The choice is all yours.